What is up, everybody? I hope that you are enjoying your day. I am just trying to get the full bounce effect, so I won't be looking like Miss Seeley for long. Sorry for you Pan African brothers who just want to see braids and all that stuff in our hair. Not gonna happen over here. I'm not for you. But anyways, I was catching O'Shea Do Jackson, and he's talking about, people having things to say about Serena Williams. All right. And before he segues into his commentary on Serena Williams, he sort of piggybacks on a video that he did a couple of days ago or last week. And I commented on this video too about Dr. Umar not wanting to go on 20 and 1 because he wasn't for sure if all the women were going to be actual black women. Now, O'Shea is saying that, a reason why many black men go overseas, right, is because they're confused, right, by what a natural sister looks like in America. They don't know how to differentiate their black women from these trans women, right? And, I have a hard time believing that. Like, I really do have a hard time believing that. There are exceptions to the rule, as I've said before. But when I say that, there is exceptions, that means that it is very rare for a black man to be able to look at a trans woman and not be able to understand that that is a male, right? There's some clear indicators, right? You can even ask some real obvious questions, right? That may catch them off guard, right? But like, when did you start your period? you know. But anyways, it's one of those things where, O'Shea is saying that these black men are going over to Africa because they want more Afrocentric women, women who look like more natural black women with the kinky hair, and, women that they are convinced are black women. But, it has nothing really to do with a woman's hair as to why men may be confused about if a woman is an actual natural black woman versus a transformer, as he says. And, you know, when you think about it, you had that Hope Giselle person who actually had an idea of natural black hair. She had on a wig that was locked, or they had on a wig that was the idea of natural, right? And again, it's not about the hair of the woman, right? If that is something that confuses men about if they're dealing with a natural woman versus a not natural woman, they're dumb, right? And you deserve to get stolen on every single time by those people because you're dumb, right? Most men can tell a woman from a man. There are so many different indicators, right? And even these surgically enhanced individuals, there are still indicators, right? You know if you're dealing with a natural woman or not. One of the indicators for natural women is very simple, and sorry, I got stretch marks. That's number one. She had kids, she can have kids. But you see this black line here, right? All of the black women in my family have that line, right? This silent line, and it's not a line that we got when we had got pregnant with our children. It's actually a line that we had like at birth, like, because we're very fertile women, right? That's why especially my little daughter, her line is so fertile that I'm like, I'm gonna have to get her like a metal chastity belt, right? Just to make sure she ain't popping no kids on us because she's a fertile person, right? And this matters, and I mean, there's so many ways that a guy can tell if a woman is a natural born woman. outside of what her hair looks like. I mean, because a woman can wear, European hair or European hair and Afrocentric hair, as Hope Giselle, the Transformer, proved, and still be confusing to men, right? Like, and it's just, I don't think this argument is super strong here because
Cis. That's why we're saying that black women are becoming unrecognizable. Dr. Umar Johnson can't tell which is which, and he would prefer to deal with a
But how can I don't understand how Hope Giselle, who was presenting herself as the image of what Umar liked, right? How he would be confused, or not being able to recognize a black woman who's actually wearing Afrocentric type hair. She's not wearing European hair. She's not wearing blonde hair, right? She's not looking like Serena Williams, like perplexed and weird about makeup choice. We don't know what's going on with Serena. We just know that her face is getting lighter and lighter and lighter. But like off of that though, Hope Giselle had the Afrocentric hair, which to me made her look more like a black woman than if she would have wore the European hair, right? Because honestly, again, like I said in my other video, black women, we have very prominent features, right? We have very prominent features. So if you are dealing with a highly, deeply melanated black woman who has strong Afro features, right? You know, and she has on Afrocentric hair, right? That person is gonna look more like a woman and a natural African woman than if they wore the European hair. Like Hope Giselle, without all the makeup on, really couldn't pull tricking Umar on, like tricking Umar if that person would have wore European hair. They wouldn't, because when you look at their face, you can still see the masculine features. You can still tell that might be a dude, or that is a woman with some really masculine features, right? Right? And it's one or the other, but you can look at that person, and if they would have had the straight European hair, they wouldn't have been able to pull it off as much without all the makeup on as they did with that Afrocentric hair. It was the Afrocentric hair, O'Shea, that really got her fooling Umar.
A woman, not somebody that was a man that transitioned into a woman. But this also goes into certain other aspects that we want to discuss. Let's look at Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj.
Mike Rogers. So he's gonna go into Nicki Minaj, and I don't care about this dude. I don't. So he's gonna go into Nicki Minaj, and he's gonna talk about how Nicki Minaj was on a live stream, and she was wearing her signature scarf, and she was wearing kind of like this blonde wig, and somebody roasted her and said that she looked like Hulk Hogan, right? Now, to me, I think that was just a roast. It wasn't like, I'm confused as to what you look like, Nikki, because she wears wigs all the time. Natural color wigs, blonde wigs. It doesn't matter with Nicki Minaj, right? But she also has that signature scarf thing that she has going on with her. And so that person who was like, you look like Hulk Hogan, right? They were really kind of clowning her, roasting her. And if anybody knows anything about Nicki Minaj and her fan base, that's kind of what they do to each other. They're like family, cousins that never met each other.
This is exactly why.
Who you calling Hulk Hogan?
And mind you, her lighting is bad, and you can tell Nikki has had fillers in her face. Me and Nikki are the same age, right? And I haven't had fillers in my face, and obviously my face is not as firm as Nicki Minaj is because obviously I am afraid to put things like that in my body, let alone places that's close to my brain. So they're laughing. She. But I mean, this is just
Blanca,
the
your
fan is clowning her. Obviously, they
Hulk
don't.
Hogan.
But
Oh,
she is giving Hulk Hogan in this particular look. Okay, she is giving Hulk Hogan.
Hunty.
Blonde hair. They looked at her do-rag and they said, "You look like Hulk Hogan." Now, obviously, Nicki Minaj doesn't look like Hulk Hogan, but we can understand the similarities. The masculinity that Nicki Minaj may portray is also saying that, hey, well, you kind of act a lot more manly than you should, and because you're not.
You know, I wish that people would stop conflating the strength and conviction of some black women with masculinity, right? Because when you conflate those things, what you're telling me is that your idea of black women is that we are supposed to be weak and highly tolerant, right? That is not how we are cut. Black people, black women, we have very warrior esque mindsets, right? We don't have a high tolerance for people, especially if you're a foundational Black American, Ados Freeman, right? Your tolerance for certain things and certain people is very low, right? And so you are seeing generations of people whose tolerance level have gotten lower and lower and lower, from the men to the women, right? And even when it's down to dealing with each other, right, our tolerance levels are lower, right? So, I hate it when people say that black women act masculine, or they conflate our strong personalities and our lower tolerance level with masculinity, because that really, to me, that's not really, to me, those two characteristics are not really the characteristic of a true masculine man anyways, right? Real masculine men have self-control, and they have conviction, right? And they have patience and perseverance, where they are not just they do have a subtle level, they have a higher tolerance level, right, than even black women sometimes. So I hate it that people are so ignorant that when they see a strong black woman with conviction and who will not tolerate disrespect, illogical people are thinking that somehow that is a masculine thing. There's a lot of dudes running around claiming that they're masculine or whatever, and they are beta people at heart. They get punked all the time. They have zero conviction. They don't believe in anything outside of their loser selves, right? And yet these are the people who have the audacity to sit up there talking about you acting masculine. It's like, no, you're acting like a bitch because you probably were raised by one. But off of that, I don't know if this commentary of his is really on the money. And I don't think sometimes, I mean, everybody can see things the way they want to. But this is, to me, a little off
Not trying to really live
to
into
set
your
up a
femininity.
conversation
Well,
about
you
Serena
kind of look
Williams.
like Hulk Hogan because what you're doing is unnatural. Black women typically don't have blonde weaves, and she got.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It may not be a natural hair color for black women, but black women have been putting highlights in their hair forever. We have been, wearing certain things. Now, mind you, I wouldn't run around with blonde hair. You know what I mean? But I've had dominant blonde highlights before, but I still have the darker roots and it look dope, right? But these are styles, right? These are styles. I think that whether it's European or Afrocentric, black women, just like any other woman in modern America, we embrace fashion and style. And, again, it has little to do with cultural appropriation and everything to do with, wow, that would really look good on me. And I think a lot of men, sometimes they come with the jealousy because they may not feel like they have the luxury to have that much diversity in how they can look, especially the balding ones, right? They always have the most to say. Beta people have the most to say about everything because obviously they need to have some level of self righteousness. And, nothing does that for them by like nitpicking other people who are actualized people. Nicki Minaj is a highly actualized individual. And even in that exchange with the person who said you look like Hulk Hogan, she wasn't overly up. She was up, like she was able to laugh at it, right? Because I'm pretty sure she, in that lighting, she could probably concede that that was probably true, and everybody around her did. Like she didn't take it personal. You know what I mean? But off of that, it's like I said, I like to wear hair extensions. I wear my hair how I want to. I don't subscribe to idealisms as a black American woman of how I should wear my hair. I've never been to Africa. I don't even have any long term or short term plans of going to Africa. So I don't feel compelled to conform my styling to those standards. And I think it's a double standards when these dudes talk about, oh, FBA, ADOS, and Freeman and stuff, and then you're going to try to dictate to Freeman how they should exist, right? We are not Africans. We are closer to Europeans. So if you're Black American, you can wear your hair however you want to. I mean, I can see how these people in Africa might feel because even they have some feeling about even their women wearing these European and Asian type hair. And you can go on social media and you can see a lot of these African dudes bitching about their women wearing European type hairstyles, right? So, I mean, this is obviously a problem that a lot of men have when it comes to their women. They want them to accept their hair and embrace their hair. But on the flip side, the first women that they cheat on with their women a lot of times got these European hairstyles. So I'm not buying half some of these dudes too. A lot of times when I see a dude that's just very heavy on dictating how their woman should appear, outside of modesty, right? Like if you're a woman, you meet her and she's always liking funky hairstyles, right? And she dresses modestly. She just likes to do her hair funky, right? You're an insecure dude if you're like, okay, now that you're with me, you need to change that thing that you like, right? Because I don't like women that do that to their hair. It's like, you need to like me for how you'd absorb me. You know what I mean? And so I tell people, absorb the people that you like and you're attracted to. If you don't like women that wear Afro, European hairstyles, don't be with a woman that wears European hairstyles. But don't think that you can be the arbitrator of blackness and black women and, you know, think that you can tell us how to wear our hair, okay? But I like O'Shea's commentary. I think that he's funny, right? But I think just his way of segueing into Serena Williams' story about her kind of whitening up slowly but surely. He's adding a number of false premies, I believe, to certain current situations because again, black women wearing European hairstyles, right? At least in the case with Umar Johnson and that Hope Giselle person, that was kind of a fallacious point because that person was actually wearing the Afrocentric hair, right? They weren't wearing European hair, and he was still confused. He was still confused. And I'm going to tell dudes, you'll probably be actually more confused by the women that actually do wear the Afrocentric hair, the transformer ones, than the ones who may be wearing the straight European hairs, right? Both ways will confuse you, but a lot of times the ones that go Afrocentric might confuse you the most. So, and we just saw that with Umar. So let me know what you guys think about this. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. What's good? But I think you got it wrong here. But have a good day, guys. Bye.